sitting over here. One, two, three. You would run the commands over there. So today we are going to talk about the permissions, one of the most important and crucial part of the Linux operating system is the access control and the permissions over the files and the directories. Then we are going to talk about the SSH communicating and the SSH privilege of the Linux, and then we go over SFTP and the SCP file transfers protocols. We are going to cover X11, and we wrap up with the modules. Actually, we don't have a time. Yeah. Out. Okay.
Sorry, that's a typo.
Okay. So we wrap up the session with the X11. So what is permission? Why is important and crucial? Permission is no matter what operating system that you are using, what the methodology that you are using, you need to have a proper permission to execute, read, or write over the file or directories, right? So the permission in the Linux is different than with the other operating system because they are following Unix operating system, right? But the permission in Windows is different than here. Let's focus on the formatting on the permission. I want to write down in the actually on the board over here. Permission has 10 characters. The first characters is emphasizing on the saying that the file is a file or is a directory. If the character doesn't have a D and is only a dash, means that that is a file. If has a D, means that it is a directory. The first 3 characters are dedicated to the permission for owner of the file or directories. Whatever, whoever create that file or directory can be the owner of the file. One second. I think that this is off. Let's go up. I can see it over here, but I cannot see it here. So the first tree is for the owner. The second one after the dash is read, write, execute. Read, write permission, and execute permission. And it's going to be the same for the second tree and the last tree. The second tree belongs to the group, and the last tree belongs to the other, or everybody talk about everyone. Some people talk about the others or the everyone. So if you want to create a file or directory, it will pick up this permission. And you, as an owner, has a privilege to change these permissions, right? Let's play with this. Because we had some confusion last week, before we start the session, please create a directory called class, just class, simple class, no capital, no, make a directory called class, wherever you are existing right now and standing. It doesn't matter. We just wanted to create a directory and navigate to that directory and play with that. Whatever that JSON is showing you, you will have the same situation in your again, I am with Jason, Marco, Liam, and Monica over here from the Computer Facility Department. They are helping me through to this class. So when you create this directory, you can get the list-la. Do you remember list-la shows that those permissions and more information about the list of the file that you created? You will see that on the left TV, you will see that we have the first column dedicated to the permissions. And when class is a directory, at the beginning of the line, you will see that a letter D, which means this is directory. And the first tree, it says that read, write, execute, JSON has it over this directory. The group, which is named games, whoever belongs to that group, they can read the files on these directories. Can you bold it, Jason? The directory of the class, permissions of the class. Down. Oh, yeah. Thank you. So the bolded permissions belongs to the class directories. The first three is that related to the owner, which is Jason, can read, write, execute. The second three, it says read dash execute, means that whoever part of the games as a member of the group, they can go to this directory, they can read the directories and the files over the directories, and they can execute it, but they cannot change anything because they don't have a write permission. And the funny part is that everybody around the world can have access to these directories and read and execute those files. We want to play with those permissions and actually modify the permission, because we don't want to anybody around the world, which is the others, they have a read and execute. We don't want to they see this. So how we can manage it? it's very easy to change the permission. And how we wanted to change those permission, there is a command, it's called change chmod, or the do you remember what was the manual? You go over and see that what's the information that I have it, or we can get it for one command. Do you remember that? Man, right? Jason, get the man over the chmod. Thank you. Chmod is a change file mode bits. Means that if we wanted to change the permission, we can use chmod. For using a chmod, there are different options and argument you can use it. Some people, they use the numbers. Some people, they use the character RWX for changing the permission. So I believe that we are using letters over here. So if we wanted to change, go back. If we wanted to change, go to the class, create a file without anything. Just say touch file 01.txt. Go to the class because we want to go to your class directory, because for now on, everything that we are creating, we want to be inside the class directory, everybody be in the same page, right? So when you get the ls in the class directory, you shouldn't have anything because you just create those directory.
So everybody, whatever you remember, don't forget your command.
Yeah.
On the thing. So if everybody runs pwd, your working directory, your working directory should be like your home directory and then end in the word class. Are we all in the right location? So if we run ls minus la, there's nothing there. Inside the class directory, nothing inside that directory. Looks good?
Again, I'm writing down the list of the commands that we are using over here. You can capture those and you can practice it at home. So we want to create a file. Do you remember what file you can create it and without even entering anything to that file? There was a command, it's called touch, right? We want to create touch file01.txt. I'll write it down again, touch command over here. So when you get the ls, you see that the touch command has a read access for the read and write access for the owner, obviously. There is no execution because txt doesn't have it's not an execution file, right? Executed file. So what we can do, we can, we want to change, we don't want to, everyone has a read access, right? So we are going to change this for removing that read access for the everyone, which is the third 3 characters, and we want to remove this R from those people from around the world. We don't want to even see our file, right? It's very critical. It's our information, but we want to everybody we are in the same group. They can see it, but no other people. So we use the chmod command. So we said that user is for the owner or users, we use U. For group, we use G. And for other, we use O. U, G, O. If we want to, and for the read, write, execute, we use RWX. If we want to give permission for one of these, let's say we want to give a permission for group, they have a right access. They can modify the file, right? You are in the finance team, right? The manager wanted to give access to everybody to work on the one Excel sheet, right? They ask IT people, all the group, they wanted to have a read and write access. So we want to give group, we use the chmod command, G plus W. We want to give write access for the group over the file01 .txt. Enter. Thank. You will see that you don't have a result. However, if you get the ls-la, you will see that if you compare the first line with the second line, can you bold it? Yes. This one, the original permission, the permission after you change. See that the write access granted to the group, right? Now, we want to take it back, or we want to take a read access from the others. We don't want to anybody have access to this file. So guess what? This plus, change it to the minus, chmod other, which is O minus R file name. Enter. So get the ls-la. You see that others cannot even see your file anymore. There is no permission for them. So please practice these multiple times at home, or you can use anywhere that you want, because chmod is crucial when you are running the software, when you see that something you cannot manage it. The file management and the access control is one of the key player in working with Linux operating system. So let's create another file, and I would like you guys give all permission. Everybody have read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute over that file. Your file is going to be file02. First, create the file. Then get the ls to see that what is the permission, which is the default permission. If somebody asks me, can I change the default permission every time that I create the file? I don't want others. Can you get the ls? Yep, go ahead. See that the file02 has read for group and others, right? You want to change this default permission. It's a little advanced, but I just wanted to point out there is a configuration for the creating file, and you can, it's a uname, no, umod. What's the default location for the changing the permissions? Is a 0 to, yeah. Yeah, UMass. So, yeah. It will, can you get UMass over here? No, you just say UMass. It will print it out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
See, yeah. There is a file permission over here. You can modify the UMass. Every time that you create the file has your desired permission, right? But this is a little advanced. We keep it for the next workshop that we have. However, but there is a way, whenever you create a file, those will grant the default access or the default permission, whatever you desire. So anyhow, let's go back to the file 02.txt. The default permission is a read-write for the owner, read for the group, and read for others. I would like everybody have the same way. However, you change the permission, give everybody and all the entire member of the group, everyone in the world, they have the same action: read, write, execute, read, write, execute, and read, write, execute. Please do it. As we would see, JSON uses chmod command, or some people call chmod or chmod command. He said, please user, group, and other have read, write, execute over the file 02, and get the ls over LA. Thank you. Thank you. And you see that that is the full access for everybody, read, write, execute over that file. However, this file is not executable, but you wanted to play with the permissions. There is another way that we don't have it in a slide. I promised you guys last week, I said that I will give you some a Christmas gift even before the Christmas. So there is another and an easy way to do that, because if you are good with the math and you want to do the numbers, it will be very helpful, handy. Read is 4, write is 2, and execute is 1. You want to use, I said that the chmod or chmod command has a two-way. One is that they're using the letters U, G, O, or you can use the numbers. The number is going to be summation of this number. What is the total of this? If you get sum of this, it's going to be 7, right? If I want to give a permission for the 3 letters, I can say 777, 777. chmod 777 over the file 02. Right? How about this? I want to give, because we said that this file is not executable, I want to give read, write for everybody to all these 3 letters. What's the number should be? Exactly. 666. Get the 666 over the file .txt, get the ls-la. As you see that, it will change the permission. But honestly, I love to work with the numbers, but if you want, either one will work. So whatever you get comfortable, you choose it, and you can play with that. For example, if I want everybody has, you will have, as an owner, you will have read, write. How about this? I want to write down, and you practice it over there. Owner or user, read, write. Group, read, and other, no permission. Please give me the number of that and execute it over file 2. Owner or the user is read write, group read access, and the other no access. What the number should be? 640, right? 4 plus 2 plus 640. 640. chmod 640 file 02.txt. The last thing that I wanted to talk about the permission that you will deal when you are start working with the Linux a lot. When you wanted to install the file or download the file from the different resources, you might not have a proper permission to execute that software on your operating system and on your computer. Please, permission is a troubleshooting for you. Make sure that you have a proper permission when you want to install those files and the directories on your operating system. The second topic that we are going to cover today is SSH. SSH is very handy protocols that that came with the Linux as a default command that you can use it. What is the SSH for? If you get the man over the SSH, it will see that the SSH is a secure socket shell. Is the if you wanna, I don't want it to compare it with the other operating system. It's kind of like a RDP, but not in GUI interface, in the terminal interface. So you can remove access to other computer if the other computer allows you to have access through to the SSH protocol and the channel. You would be able to do it without any problem. So SSH is very important, and the amazing part of the SSH that everybody is using around the world these days, and the most usable protocol in the Linux is the encryption technology that they are using over the SSH. Whatever computer that you are SSHing to, and you will have a remote access to that computer, all the traffic is encrypted, which means nobody, if they tap to your traffic, they cannot see what file or what directories, whatever you are doing over this channel. SSH traffic is always encrypted, and they are using port 22 if you are a network guy, and if you are a network engineer, they are using port 22 over the well-known ports for the accessing through to the network. SSH always is a client and a host. If you want to have access, you need to have one client, which is your terminal, and your computer is going to be a client, and the host is the computer or the server you want to SSHing to. So the client is a machine that you are sitting, and the host is there possible we hop around and jump around from one computer to another computer to another computer to another computer? Yes. There are a lot of IT engineers. They create one remote server, everybody remote access to that server, and that server will have access to the entire local area network, right? So they wanted to have a one as a channel to that server, and that server SSH to the other one. So you can SSH and jump around multiple computer and the multiple operating system of the server around us. You use a SSH command to connect it to the your host. However, we would like to show you guys how you use the SSH command by using the GW. GW provide this service to the all CIS engineers and Columbian College and couple of the schools at GW. They are using. Are they going to do Shell or Colonial one?
I like Shell.
Shell. Okay. A School of Engineering and Applied Science provide Shell, which is the remote connection service. If you want to run a software such as MATLAB, your computer or laptop is not powerful enough, you're running the MATLAB, right? You can SSH to one computer. That computer is the resources is higher than your laptop resources, running your simulation over that computer. So, but you need to have a channel to remotely access to that computer, right? So let's SSH to. Okay. Let's use this SSH username. Your username. Who is not CIS a student over here? All of them, you guys are a CIS student?
Yeah, even if they aren't, they're going to be able to log in.
Okay, okay. Use your NetID at shell.cis.gwu.edu. For those people that are connecting through to our YouTube channel, you can do the same as well from home.
Oh, but they'll have to be on.
But you need to use a VPN when you are using from home. The GW VPN.
So don't enter my NetID. Use your own.
Obviously.
And just to dumb it down, what we're doing is we're going to connect from the computer here to Shell, which is a server that's in the basement of SEH. So it's going to look this command line is going to look exactly the same once we connect, but we're actually connected to a remote machine. So if you hit enter, for some of you it may pop up. All right, I log in automatically. You probably aren't.
Yes. So if it pop up, it said, "Are you sure you want to connect to this?" You are sure.
Yeah, type yes.
And you need to enter your password, your NetID password, please. When you enter your password, you are in the shell. If you get the PWD,
they're actually going to be in the same directory.
it's the same directory. Yeah. Okay. But how about this? You get uname, UNAME -A. Uname is a command to show that the information regarding the host of the one that you are connected to, right?
Does everybody remember who am I from last week? Okay, uname is like a where am I. So uname, the results for uname, actually we don't even need to run -A. We could just, if you, well, no. We do uname -A. It's going to give us a bunch of stuff that you don't care about, but what we do care about is it tells you the name of the machine that you're connected to. So right now, you aren't connected to this machine, you're connected to Shell, which is a server that's in the basement of SEH. And you can test that by typing exit and then run
uname
-A again. Well, I'm still on Shell, but hang on. Oh, for the love of God.
So get exit out of the shell, please, and you get the uname, exit, and get the uname. You said that uname -A. Yep. You will see that it says that Linux lab, which is the computer that you are working on it, right? So let's go SSH bash, SSH username at shell.cs.gwu.edu. We want to play around with this to see that what the privilege of SSH give it to you. Another way you want to figure it out, if you become a Linux administrator, you jump around from one computer to another computer, one computer to another computer. But you want to see that what computer you are currently. You can use a unin-a, or you can just simply host name, right? If you get host name, if we printed out the host name of the the last computer you are right now working on, host name. If we printed out for everybody from YouTube channel, and here everybody should get the same result, which is the shell.cs.gwu.edu. I'm sorry. So do we wanted to run something on the shell to see that?
Skip it because there's a typo in that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So we want to run something as a software. Shell doesn't have a MATLAB. Can we run a MATLAB?
Shell should have MATLAB.
Yeah. So I hope everybody is familiar with the MATLAB or the Python or one another software that you want to run it in your operating system. However, your laptop or your operating system is not strong enough to be able to run your commands, right? I would like to, we want to practice something, but we want to, before that practicing this, we wanted to have, I want to emphasize it over here. For SSH, we can get the two privileges. One privilege is that, such as Jason has a terminal and he can run the terminal, and whatever that he can run it, we can run it the terminal over the SSH. However, you come up with the idea, I am not familiar with the terminal when I am using MATLAB. What should I do? I want to get the GUI interface of MATLAB, but I am using a SSH channel, which is a port 22. I don't want it to have the other port we open. I want to use the same channel, but having a GUI interface, such as when you double click on your software is installed on your computer, it will give you the GUI interface of them, and we give you the interface of the software. You want to have the same privilege. However, you don't have that software installed on your computer. How we can use this? This is coming, it's called X window. X window, it will help the user running the GUI interface or the interface on your computer. However, you don't have that software installed on your computer. So if you want to use this privilege, you need to exit out from the shell, and you need to type SSH.
Everybody listen to Honey, because I'm going to have to do this a little differently.
You need to use SSH dash capital X, your username. You are saying that, hey, terminal, I want to use the SSH protocol, but I want to use X windows of the SSH protocol. When you use this, you enter your password, SSH that username at shell.seeds.gw.edu. Perfect. So when you do this, clear it up your screen. Do we have XI over there? Oh, you can run the MATLAB. So can you run MATLAB? Just type MATLAB. Just say MATLAB. Just enter MATLAB on your terminal. Enter. You see that MATLAB is running on your computer. However, your computer doesn't have a MATLAB. That is a amazing part. Make sure that you use a double cap that X. See, this is the MATLAB is running on the shell.seeds.gw.edu. Is using a shell server resources, but you have access to the GUI interface, access to your computer. How amazing this is! You are using a protocol, port 22. You are using a SSH. All the traffic is encrypted. But the great privilege of this is that you can run this as a visually. You can see the software over this. So if you go back to your terminal, you see that your terminal is hang out and you cannot use anything else. So how you come back, and you don't want to have this happen to you. You want to keep using your terminal at Shell and do this stuff, but you want to use the terminal for the different stuff, right? Close MATLAB. You will jump back to the terminal. You see that your wait to terminal responded. You will jump back over here. We want to send a background running as a background. Okay, so MATLAB space and sign. MATLAB space and sign will run the MATLAB. However, it gives you terminal back. You can play with the terminal. If you, when the MATLAB is running, you come back to your terminal, you see that, oh, you do have access to do different stuff in your terminal. Can you see? Oh, you have one more. Yeah. Close it. Yeah.
Good.
Wait. Hold on.
Oh, just hit enter.
Yeah.
It'll take
Yeah.
back.
When you come back to the terminal, just hit enter. However, the MATLAB is running on the background for you. Before that, before using an and sign, you wouldn't be able to use the terminal for the different thing. Now, MATLAB is running. You can run your simulation, and you can back to work for doing stuff you want to do it over the shell. Let's run another software. We want to see that how much you can get privilege after this. Type eyes, X eyes, please, with and sign.
I'm not sure.
Do we have X eyes, Marco, over here?
That's what I was going to ask him. He updated shell. I don't think XIs is there.
Let's double check.
It's not there. Sorry.
What do we have? Do we have a X clock? How about X clock? Do you have XI? No, you don't have it? No. X clock?
Yeah, we don't have any of these.
Extreme?
Extern.
Extern?
Yeah, it's not. It'll work for them. It won't work for me because I'm already on shell.
Can you Can you use the XIs? Yeah. Yeah, why not? Oh, there's no X term, X clock. How about X clock? Yeah. No. X term. No, X term. Yeah. It's working? Perfect. So you can have a multiple software running as a GUI interface on your computer but even not being at the shell server.
Try Xeyes again. I just installed it.
Yeah. If you want, you can use the Xeyes.
And then move your mouse around.
Yeah, just play around with the Xeyes. Make sure that don't hypnotize it yourself. And
Okay, if you're on a Mac and you do SSH, you have to do -capital Y.
Oh.
So you got, so everybody, if you run, oh, yeah. You do Xeyes? Okay, all right, type hostname. Hostname, again. You're still on shell, so type exit again. Because so see, you kept SSHing to shell from shell, so type hostname again. Oh, exit again. Hostname. All right, okay, so now you're on this machine. So now run SSH -X.
so if you want to close the Xeyes or the MATLAB, you can close it, and you will see that, but you will still have access to your terminal. And if you want to get out of the shell, you can use just exit, simple exit command. But we don't want it to do that yet. Please do not exit out from the SSH, from shell. SSH.
Everybody run hostname, make sure you're still on shell.
So you learn that how you can SSH to the username to the other server. If you want to practice it, you can have this privilege using a shell.cs.gw.edu and use your NetID. If you are home, you have to use a VPN. You have to be on VPN first, then you can have access to the shell. So you can have, if you want to have a Linux on your laptop, School of Engineering Applied Science provide VMware license. VMware is a company create the virtualization software, and they are well known in the industry. If you have a bad history or you didn't want to use a VMware, there is a free software coming from Oracle. It's called Oracle VirtualBox. You can have a virtual operating system. You can have running one operating system over your host, the current laptop that you have, and you can have a multiple operating system. For example, I have a Mac and I am using 11 operating system beside the OS X operating system that I have it. So, and like a Jason has CentOS. He's running a Mac OS. He has a Windows. He has Jason CentOS. Is his custom CentOS. He has a CentOS 64, generic CentOS, and a Windows 10 image, running the different operating system as a virtual operating system using the host resources. Go ahead.
So the nice thing is it runs a different operating system like an application on your laptop. So I have an Apple laptop. The easiest way to demo this is just to say, it's to run my Windows box. But here, we'll run CentOS. you can install whatever you want inside a virtual machine. And the virtual machine will pop up and look like this. So it's starting a virtual machine, but what this is this is a full Linux operating system that is running on my Mac. So I can come inside here, and let's just close this. And this is a Linux operating system. This isn't, it's a virtual machine. I can do
Clear it up and uname.
Clear, uname -a. This is a machine that I built. I didn't even give it a name, so it's just called localhost, which is a default name. But if you want to get in depth with Linux, like remember last week when we talked about the root account and how dangerous it is and how we can't give you root access to like shell or whatever. If you'd like root access, then get a VMware license, build your own Linux machine, and you'll have root. Like you will own it. You'll be able to install software. You can practice. And if you destroy it, it's not the end of the world because you can just build another one.
Yeah. When it's a file base, right? You can create a good, for example, I have a VMware. I said I have 11 operating systems running Kali, and I am, because I'm teaching a computer security and network security, I have an operating system that are obsolete, like a Windows XP, Windows 2003. I don't want it to have it up and running all the time on my laptop if somebody hack it, right? I will have an original image, and the original image is a file-based, right? I can copy around with my VMware anywhere that I want. So this will give you privilege if you want to learn Linux, but you don't want to damage your operating system. You can create a master image, play with that, break it. You just throw it away, delete it, and copy the master image back to your VMware location folder and keep using the same operating system. So this will give you a privilege, you practice more. I would recommend, if you don't have a VMware account, please request it through to the support@ticket.cs.gw.edu. You write down over here, support@ticket.cs.gw. Email to this and request in subject. Is that supports or support?
Support, yeah.
Okay. Cs support@cs@at ticket.cs.gw.edu. Please email you. We will grant you 1 year VMware access. As long as you are a student, you can extend this 1 year until you graduated. So you will have access without paying this. And if you want to have a Linux operating system, CentOS free. You just Google CentOS, and you will get the latest version free. You can install it on your laptop without paying any dime, and you can start practicing. If you need help to install the software, we have some white paper, or you can just watch the YouTube, or you can come to the computer facility department. We can help you out for installing the operating system on your computer. As well as we will have a Linux lab. Is it available for everybody and the Cs? Linux lab?
Yeah, this is free if you don't feel like installing a VM, but you'd like to practice Linux. If you go to that first link at https://shell.cs.gw.edu, this is the shell server that you just SSH'd into, but it is a graphical interface. So it's going to look exactly like one of these workstations in the lab. So if I log in, or you can log in with your NetID once you go to this link. The nice thing about this is it doesn't require a client. It's just a web page you go to. So don't save, and then you can do launch session. You want to launch a GNOME session, and it's going to launch. It'll give you an error message because it's a pop-up. You say go to my session, and then boom, you get a desktop just like you got here. So if you bookmark that link, that https://shell.cs.gw.edu, if you ever just need to randomly try something on a Linux environment, you don't feel like building a VM, you can just come down here, and it's just like being here in the lab.
It is connection.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead and hit advanced.
Yeah, it doesn't have a certificate. Just add the extension. It should confirm it.
So this can
It's
be
a
done
certificate.
only through VPN?
Yeah.
At home?
No.
If you're at home, you have to be on the VPN.
VPN.
But if you're on, to work anywhere on campus, but if you're at home, connect to VPN.
Even if you are connecting, you are on campus, you are connecting to the GW wireless. If you are in the Starbucks in the German library, you can use a GW wireless. When you are on GW wireless, you don't need to have a VPN. Even if you are in dorm, you can use a GW wireless. GW wireless will give you access to this. So you can have a GUI interface of not having the actual operating system installed via VMware or even on your host hardware. You can get the privilege of this, and it's running a better better hardware and resources, provided faster CPUs and the memory. What's the memory for this?
264 gigs.
264. I'm pretty sure no one laptop right now in this class or the online, they have 256 GB as a memory, and it doesn't made it yet. So you can get the privilege of the faster, better resources of the one host via the online or SSH into, right? You have a two-way to get this privilege. One is a SSH, another one is a top link of this, and you can type it in the URL address and you get in with your NetID and password. However, if you are off campus, if you are using a public network, you need to have a VPN. Do you have some?
Can you write that out? I meant to put just vpn.gwu.edu.
Okay.
If you need the VPN software, vpn.gwu.edu is where you go to get it. Log in with your NetID and password. You can download it for free, just in case you're home and you'd like to connect to any of these resources. All right, so I got that one. Now I want to go back to this one. Now I want to go back to this one.
Jason, Marco, do you want to add something? So, yeah,
Is Marco back?
Marco is here.
Marco is back.
So, these are the session 2. We might have one more session, not coming this week, but we want to have this module as a 3 sessions. We are right now discussing with Jason and Marco regarding adding more sessions for the Linux to get it more advanced. But I'm telling you, these 2 sessions is a good start with actually we are giving you beginning of the rope to using the Linux as your day-to-day operating system. Please go to the following link for the feedback. Please provide the feedback to us. Tell us how awesome we are. No, just tell us what you are looking for, and when we are designing the new workshop, we are going through to these feedbacks and see that what you guys looking for, we add it to our slides and cover it in the future workshop. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for those people that are joining from the YouTube channel. And I wish you guys the, do you have something to add?
Well, I mean, I know you probably have to go.
Yeah.
Real quick, I was going to go over FTP.
Okay.
To show how to get files
Okay.
to and from.
Okay.
I'm going to show you guys something, but we have to do it on a Windows. Oh, I feel so honored. I'm going to just stick it on my belt. Can you hear me? Okay, so let's say you're on your laptop and you need to get a file from your laptop up to Shell or a server that you're working on. This is what we're going over. And of course, I don't have FileZilla installed. Download FileZilla. So what you need is what they call a secure FTP client. It's called SFTP. And there are different clients for different operating systems. So there's a slide in the presentation. The popular ones, FileZilla is a free one for Windows, so that's popular for Windows. And CyberDuck is popular for a Mac. So you could just download FileZilla. And you want to download the FileZilla client if you're on a Windows machine. And I know you're not sitting in front of a Windows machine. This probably isn't going to make a whole lot of sense. Download the free version. Run the executable. Yes. I agree. Desktop icon. And I'm just going to do a demo. All secure FTP clients work the exact same. So this is going to look very similar if you do it on a Mac or on a Linux machine. We will go over. You're going to have two window panes. The window pane on the left is actually going to be the machine that you're working on, right? So your laptop or your home computer or whatever. And then notice there's nothing over here, but this is the quote-unquote server you're going to connect to. So I'm going to connect this over to Shell, and then what I'm going to see on this side of the screen is my home directory on Shell. So let me do that real quick. Dun, 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 dun. So we go up here where it says you always need a host. That's the server you're going to connect to. Your username. Okay, SFTP and SSH connect on the exact same port. It's port 22. So just always remember 22. Then we hit quick connect. And I'm not going to save the password, but you can save a password. The first time you connect, it's going to say this is the fingerprint for the server. Do you want to connect? Sure we do. We hit OK. What the hell? What could not connect a server? Marco? Is SFTP running on Shell?
Of course.
Why can't it connect?
Well, it's SSH.
Yeah, I know. There we go. All right. I don't know why that took forever. All right. But we're connected. And actually, this isn't going to make a whole lot of sense. But like I remember, left side is this Windows machine that I'm sitting in front of. And then this garbage over here is my home directory up on Shell, which doesn't look good. But to show you, I'm going to find the class. So if we look up here, the folders are up at the top. I'm in the folder or the directory that we worked with the entire class, my home directory, and then class. And then under here, you'll see file 1, file 2, and then I made a file called test.txt. But say I want to get a copy of file 02 and move it down to my Windows machine. You can actually, on all of these, pick a local folder. Let's do users. I'm actually logged in as Jovial, and I'll go to my desktop. And you can drag a file over like this, and it will copy it down to the Windows machine, or you could right-click download and say, since it's already downloaded it. But the reason you want to use the SFTP is now that file is actually on my workstation. So it's on this Windows machine. I can open it with Notepad. There's nothing in it, but I could do this is a test, and then save it, and then say, okay, well now I've put in this is a test, so I want to upload it back to where it was. So you just drag it back over. And it says, okay, there's a file there already called file2. Do you want to overwrite it? And we can say, sure. And then, if I come back over here to shell, dun, 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 and go find my terminal, applications, system tools, terminal, do cd class, ls, cat, oops. Oh, for the love of God. Oh. Sorry, that was another demo I wanted to show you guys. There we go, cat file 02. There you go, clear. Can you guys see that? Cat file 02. So that file has, this is a test. So you can download files, manipulate them on your local machine, and then put them back on the server. When you start running jobs or like MATLAB or COMSOL or like assignments for your class, if you want to run a job on Shell, you'll probably like create your input file or arguments or whatever on your laptop, upload it to Shell, run your job, and then download the results. So that's what an SFTP client is for, right? It's just to get data back and forth. It's the easiest way to do it. So does that make sense to everybody? I did want to show you real quick one thing that Hadi didn't go over with permissions, but something you have to be very careful of. You can remove permissions. Unix does not protect you, or Linux does not protect you from yourself very well. So you can remove permissions on a file, like completely. So we've got 3 files here, and I've got test. What if I do chmod 000 test.txt? What's going to happen? What does that mean? That means the owner doesn't have any permissions. That means the group doesn't have any permissions. And that means everyone doesn't have any permissions. If I take away all permissions to that file, what happens? Well, let's find out. Hang on. Let's put something in test first. So I'll do nano. If you guys want to follow along, if you're still logged in, let's just do nano test. We'll do hello. This is my bad file. We'll write it out. We'll exit it. And now we're going to do chmod 000 test.txt. OK, now move that up towards the top. Clear, ls. Now you'll notice it didn't tell me, hey, you're dummy, you're removing all the permissions from this file, bad things are going to happen. It just did it. OK, but if you look at it, the test.txt, nobody has any rights to do anything to that file. Nobody. So what happens? So what happens if I try and edit this file? Anybody? If I try and do nano test.txt, what's going to happen? Exactly. It's going to come back and it is going to say, you do not have permission to do that. OK, so nano opens, but it can't open. So if you see at the bottom, error reading test.txt, permission denied, because I don't have read access to this file. I don't have any access to this file. Now, imagine if you did that to a directory. Fortunately, on later versions of Linux, I believe the kernel after 6.5 or 6.6, on later versions of Linux, they wrote in a loophole. You can't do anything with this file, but you can still run chmod against it. So you can fix your mistake. You can do chmod 600 test.txt. You can actually restore permissions. It has a special bit that says, OK, you are the person that originally created this file, so we won't give you permission to do anything else except fix your dumb mistake. So now if I do nano test.txt, we can get back in, we can edit the file. But keep that in mind. If you're ever on an older Linux system and you remove the permissions, what happens is that file is stuck. And occasionally root can get in there, but if nobody has permissions, then root may only have the option to delete that file. So be very careful when you're typing permissions that you don't, taking permissions away from other people isn't that big a deal. Taking permissions away from yourself is a very big deal. So be very, very careful when you're editing permissions. But that's actually, that's all we have scheduled for today. Is there anything in particular people had questions about? Anything you'd like us to go over? Any other random questions? All right, guys. I think Hadi already pointed out the link at the end of the presentation should have the survey link. And that's it. As Hadi mentioned, if you have specific questions, if you'd like assistance setting up a virtual machine, you could visit us in the basement of SEH. We're in B2600. It's all the way at the bottom. You can't take the stairs. You have to take the elevator. Let me close out of this. I don't know where the presentation is. I think that's it. How do I turn this off?